In the autumn of 1943, a young housewife looked at a soap shelf that was nearly bare. The government had thinned soap with rosin to stretch it, and she kept a coffee can of saved bacon grease by the stove for the war effort. Yet she kept her whole house clean, top to bottom, with almost nothing but what sat in her pantry. That's what this is really about. 15 cleaning tricks from the war years that still work in your house tonight. And the reason they worked at all. 3 words are going to come up again and again before we're done. Something sour, something alkaline, something gritty. Hold on to those, because by the end they stop being a list and become the whole secret. Hit subscribe, because this will change how you look at every bottle under your sink. The cleaning industry spent the post-war years teaching your grandmother she needed a different product for every surface in the house. One spray for glass, one for wood, one for stone, one for the bathroom. Before all of that, a handful of pantry staples did every job in the house and did it well. Let's count down the 15 tricks they hoped you'd forget. Number 15. Newspaper and a splash of vinegar. Long before spray bottle glass cleaner existed, windows were washed with a crumpled sheet of yesterday's newspaper and a little vinegar cut with water. Vinegar is sour, a mild acid, and the haze on glass is mostly a thin film of grease and minerals that acid loosens on contact. The newspaper does the rest. Its fibers are dense and lint-free, so they polish the glass dry without leaving streaks. The recipe: 1 part vinegar to 4 parts water, wiped on, buffed off with crumpled paper until the glass squeaked. There's a faint, dry squeak of newsprint on clean glass that a whole generation grew up knowing as the sound of a job well done. Every glass cleaner sold today is chasing that same shine. Number 14. Stale bread on the walls. When wallpaper or painted plaster picked up soot or fingerprints, the fix was a heel of stale bread. Tear off the soft inside, roll it into a ball, and rub it over the marks. The soft crumb is tacky enough to grab loose soot and oily residue while being far too soft to scratch paint or tear paper. It lifts rather than scrubs. Art conservators still use breadcrumb on delicate surfaces for exactly this reason, on things far more precious than a hallway wall. It's an almost tender image, a woman erasing a child's handprints from the wall with the same bread she'd have toasted for breakfast. Today we buy a foam eraser sponge to do the exact same job. Number 13. Lemon and salt. Tarnished copper, brass, and sinks had no specialty polish to spare, so a housewife cut a lemon in half, dipped the cut face in salt, and scrubbed. 2 weapons at once. Tarnish is a dull oxide layer that the lemon's acid dissolves chemically, while the salt is just abrasive enough to wear the loosened tarnish away without gouging the metal. Half a lemon, a dip in coarse salt, rub, rinse, dry. Brown turns to bright gold in under a minute, and the kitchen smells of lemon afterward. It almost looks like a magic trick, watching tarnish disappear that fast under your own hand. Every tube of metal polish today is selling that same reaction. Number 12. The open box of baking soda. No single thing did more quiet work in a wartime kitchen. A box sat open in the icebox to kill odors, and a paste of soda and water scrubbed the stove, sink, and scorched pots. This is the alkaline weapon, the opposite of the lemon. Most kitchen odors and grease are mildly sour, and an alkaline powder neutralizes rather than masks them. Mixed with water, the same powder becomes a soft, scrubbing grit, hard enough to lift baked-on food, too fine to scratch enamel or porcelain. A refrigerator freshened this way has a clean, faintly mineral smell. Really, the smell of nothing at all. A whole aisle of odor sprays and scouring creams exists today to do what one box did for pennies. Number 11, saving the fat to make the soap. This one was bigger than the kitchen. With fats rationed and soap thinned to stretch supply, every drop of grease was saved in a can by the stove. Some was rendered into homemade soap. The rest went to the butcher, who paid cash and ration points per pound. Fat combined with lye becomes soap, and the leftover from that reaction is glycerin, which the government needed for explosives. Between 1942 and 1945, American households turned in more than 500 million pounds of saved kitchen fat. Picture a coffee can of cold grease on the back of every stove in the country, quietly counted as ammunition. The soap aisle today is enormous, and not one bar of it asks you to save anything. Pause here because everything so far has pointed at one idea. Almost every cleaning job in the world is one of three problems: mineral crust, tarnish, and greasy film give way to a mild acid, something sour like vinegar or lemon. Grease and sour odors and ground-in dirt break apart under a mild alkali, like baking soda. And whatever is simply stuck on lifts away under a fine grit, like salt. That's it. Sour, alkaline, gritty. Your grandmother didn't memorize 20 products. She understood 3 forces and reached for whichever one the job called for. From here, the countdown is just showing you which weapon fits which fight. Number 10. Vinegar against the scale. In hard water homes, kettles furred up with chalky crust, and vinegar dissolved it, since that scale is just a mineral deposit and acid breaks down. Equal parts vinegar and water brought to a boil, left to sit until the crust let go, then rinsed. There's a sharp smell while it works that fades the moment it dries, and underneath, a kettle that pours clear again. Today, there's a special descaling sachet for that exact crust, and inside, it is mostly an acid, doing what vinegar always did. Number 9. Cold tea on the wood. This one still surprises people. Cold dregs from the teapot were wiped over wooden floors and furniture with a soft cloth. Tea is rich in tannins, natural acids that cut through dust and greasy film while leaving a warm shine behind, and on wood, they deepen the grain's color rather than dulling it. Cold brewed tea, no sugar or milk, wiped on and buffed dry. There's a quiet thrift in it, the last use squeezed from the afternoon's teapot before it was rinsed. Every bottle of wood floor cleaner today promises a shine that a pot of cold tea gave away for free. Number 8. Borax in the wash water. On wash day, a scoop of borax, a white alkaline mineral sold under the 20 Mule Team name since 1891, went into the hot water with the clothes. Borax softens. Hard water so soap can actually work, loosens grease and stains, and neutralizes sour laundry odors, all at once. Half a cup dissolved in the hot wash with whatever soap was on hand. There's something solid about that old box, the cartoon Mule Team on the front, the heavy mineral weight of it in the hand. The same powder in the same kind of box is still sold today, quietly outliving most of the brands that tried to replace it. Number 7. Washing soda for the grease. When grease was too much for soap alone, a filthy floor, a stove hood, a sink of greasy dishes, washing soda came out. It looks like baking soda but is stronger. Where baking soda gently neutralizes, washing soda turns hardened grease soft and water-loving, so it rinses away instead of smearing. A tablespoon or two dissolved in hot water for mopping or soaking, with gloves, since the same strength that cuts grease is hard on skin. You can feel it working, the slick of dissolved grease going thin and rinsing clear, under hot water. Plenty of heavy-duty degreasers on shelves today still have washing soda inside them. Number 6. The cloudy ammonia. For the worst jobs, grease-blackened floors, grimy windows, ovens, a capful of household ammonia in a bucket of water, cut through what nothing else would touch. Ammonia is a powerful alkaline cleaner that slices grease fast, then evaporates completely, leaving no film behind. A small amount in plenty of warm water in a well-aired room, and one rule that still matters: never mix it with bleach, because together they make a dangerous gas. There's a sharpness to that smell everyone over a certain age remembers from their grandmother's kitchen. The cleaning aisle quietly replaced that one honest bottle with a dozen specialized sprays. Here's something the cleaning aisle would rather you not think about too hard. One bottle of ammonia, one box of borax, one jug of vinegar did the work, now spread across 40 products. A separate spray for glass, wood, stone, bathroom, floor. That didn't happen by accident. In 1946, Procter & Gamble launched Tide, the first heavy-duty synthetic detergent. And by 1949, it was the best-selling cleaner in the country. The company said openly it was no longer a soap company, but an industrial one, built on chemistry. What followed was decades of advertising, suggesting the plain things in your grandmother's pantry weren't good enough, that real cleaning came in a branded bottle for every surface. It wasn't a conspiracy, it was a business model. A house that needs one acid, one alkali, and one grit is a poor customer. A house that believes it needs 40 bottles is a wonderful one. Number 5, the rag bag. Nothing was thrown away while it could still work. Worn-out clothing, a torn shirt, a thinned sheet, a sock past darning, got cut down and kept in a rag bag, often sorted by job. Soft, worn cotton and linen are absorbent and lint-free, better at picking up dust and polishing dry than almost anything you can buy. And they could be washed and reused for years. Cut, sort, keep, wash with the rest of the laundry, hang to dry. There's a thrift in it that ran deeper than money, a refusal to waste anything that still had use. Today, we buy rolls of paper towels and disposable wipes, lint, cost, and a load of plastic in the fibers to do what a torn shirt did for free. Number 4, homemade furniture polish. Good wood furniture was kept alive with a polish made at home, usually beeswax softened with a little oil, sometimes just warm linseed oil rubbed in and buffed out. The point was feeding the wood instead of coating it. The oil soaks into the grain and replaces what age and dry air pull out, while the wax leaves a thin protective shine on top. A modern aerosol polish often just lays down a slick film that builds up and dulls over time. Nearly the opposite effect. A soft cloth, a small amount, worked in along the grain, buffed until no greasiness remained. One real warning: a rag soaked in the linseed oil can heat up on its own and catch fire, so it was always dried flat, never balled up. The smell of beeswax on warm wood is one of the oldest comforts there is, and no spray can quite fake it. Number 3, boiling water and steam. For true sanitizing, heat was the tool. Dishcloths, linens, and baby things went into boiling water, and a kettle poured over a surface did the rest. This uses none of the 3 weapons because it needs none. Heat high enough simply destroys germs and bacteria, and it leaves nothing behind to rinse away. A pot of water at a rolling boil, cloths dropped in for several minutes, lifted out, and dried. There's the image of a steaming pot on the stove on wash day, the windows fogging, the whole kitchen warm and damp with it. We buy antibacterial sprays and disinfecting wipes today to do what a pot of boiling water did before any of them existed. Number 2, the sun on the line. Wash was hung outside not only to dry it, but to clean it further. with yellowed linens laid in direct sun on purpose. The sun's rays gently bleach out stains and yellowing, and kill many odor-causing bacteria hiding in damp cloth, which is why line-dried laundry smells the way it does. Not perfumed, just clean. Wet wash hung in full sun, stained spots turned toward the light, left until dry. There's that particular smell of sheets dried outdoors that no bottle of fabric softener has ever truly captured, because it isn't a smell that was added. It's the smell of one being removed. The whole laundry aisle is, in a sense, trying to sell you back the sunshine your grandmother got for nothing. Number 1, the whole secret, which was never really a trick at all. Here's what your grandmother understood that we somehow forgot. She didn't own cleaning products. She owned a way of seeing her house. Walk back through the countdown and you won't find 15 separate miracles, only the same few forces, used over and over by a woman who knew exactly what each was for. Window film, kettle scale, tarnished copper, all surrendered to something sour. Grease, odors, laundry, all gave way to something alkaline. Stuck-on grime lifted under something gritty. And when even those weren't needed, there was heat, and there was the sun. That's the entire secret. Sour, alkaline, gritty, hot, and bright. Your grandmother didn't have a cabinet crowded with bottles because she didn't need one. She carried the knowledge instead of the inventory, and knowledge doesn't run out, doesn't get rationed, and never has to be bought again. That's why these tricks still work in your kitchen tonight, 80 years later. Unchanged. Vinegar is still sour, soda is still alkaline, salt is still gritty. The chemistry never expired. Only the memory of it did. Think about what that actually means. A shortage forced her to look past the label and understand the substance underneath it. And once she understood the substance, the label stopped mattering at all. She was handed a war and a bare shelf, and she answered both with 3 things any of us can still buy for a few dollars total. That understanding is the one thing the cleaning industry could never put in a bottle and sell back to you, because understanding doesn't need repurchasing. A clean house was never about what you owned, it was about what you understood. So here's what to do with all of this. Pick one and try it this week. Start easy crumpled newspaper and vinegar on a dirty window, half a lemon and salt on a tarnished pan, or the one that surprised me most, cold tea on a wooden floor. That tea trick is the reason I went looking into all of this in the first place. I had a wood floor with a dull gray film that no spray bottle had touched in 2 years. I brewed a strong pot, let it go cold, wrung out a cloth, and wiped the boards down one afternoon. By the time they dried, the film was gone and the wood had a soft, low shine I hadn't seen since we moved in. It cost me a tea bag in 10 minutes, and I haven't bought floor cleaner since. So now I want to hear from you. Drop it in the comments. Which surprises you more, that a cup of cold tea can shine a wood floor, or that a ball of stale bread can erase a mark off your wall? Maybe you've got one your own grandmother swore by that didn't make this list. I'd genuinely like to hear it, because these things tend to get passed down in whispers, not in writing, and a lot of them are still out there waiting to be remembered out loud. Try one this week and you'll feel that quiet, capable thing your grandmother knew every single day. The house was never the point. The knowing was, and the knowing is still yours for the taking.